Hello everybody, Calamity here, and I'm still addicted to Deadlock. Today's video is going to be all about the brand new difficulty that was added in the Imaginarium Theater, and currently you're seeing a rerun or a VOD of me doing this on stream. I did this yesterday, actually, and I'm just gonna skip over it, and I'm just gonna try to give some tips and advice throughout the entire thing. So let's go ahead and get started because there's a lot to do. So the free characters you get are two of them being more of the most recent ones. We have Emily and Mualani that you can borrow for free, even if you didn't pull for them. This was great. I ended up using both of them in different teams. You also get Dia, Zhongling, Candice, and Yao Yao. For those that don't know, Mualani's elemental skill, when she's on her surfboard and doing damage on it, that actually counts as normal attack damage, which Candice buffs. So a really good team to put together is Mualani and Candice, and then the two flex slots being whatever you have. Emily and Dia go really well together as well because of the burning. You can also pair her with Zhongling and Yao Yao, of course, and whoever Dendro and Pyro you have. Also, as you can tell, the only elements we can use this time around are Pyro, Hydro, and Dendro. So, you know, if you're lacking these elements, you're gonna have a rough time. Let's go ahead and skip a little bit more here. So this is the new Visionary mode. You'll see it on the bottom left. If it's not on the top, excuse me, if it's not on the top left, like it is for me right now, then you click on the bottom that I'm blocking with my head. That'll say Visionary difficulty, and it'll be the only option here. And then you'll notice it says 22 to 26. That means, yes, you do need 26 characters. One of them can be from your friends, of a combination of Pyro, Hydro, and Dendro in your roster. And yes, you will have to fight an extra boss, I believe. So it is harder, but also kind of easier if you meet the requirements. So yes, bring as many characters as you can. In fact, you'll probably end up bringing all of them. I ended up using basically the majority of my roster minus like, I don't know, 3 or 4 characters or something like that. It's a lot because the more characters you have past 22, you get a buff that increases its potency the more characters you have. So at 26, you're getting the maximum version of this buff, which I will show you in just a second. And the requirements are that the characters need to at least be level 70. So what you can do if you don't meet the requirements is try to get some characters that you don't really have to build them per se, and just try to get them to 70 with some very basic stuff. And you know, for example, you could use Yan Fei as like a shielder if you have her at like C4 and just get her to level 70 and just give her some whatever art, like quick equip artifacts and a support weapon, and then you're good to go. And then you could just use her as a pseudo shielder if need be. So that would be an example. Don't forget, Dendro Traveler is also going to be the best version of Traveler you can use, at least compared to, you know, the Hydro version. So that's another free Dendro character we can use for this as well. I didn't use her because I have other Dendro people that I use, but I would definitely recommend it if you're, you know, lacking characters to bring here. So you also have, don't forget, there's also 4 special guest characters, and these characters are going to be Kazuha, Florind, and Raiden Shogun. Raiden Shogun and Kazuha are currently going to be rerun banners. Kazuha being rerun right now. Raiden Shogun will be rerun in the second half of 5.0. So if you want to pick up 2 additional characters that are really, really good in general and will help you out in this iteration of the theater, there you go. You can also use Kachina, which we all got for free. So if you've got her built or you're still building her, you can also use her in the Imaginarium Theater as well. Basically on this part, we can see the 4 bosses as well. We can see that we have the I almost thought this was the Rito boss at first, but no, it's the mechanical one that you fought in Inazuma for Ayaka's Ascension materials. And then at level 92, we have the triple Magu Kenki. You fought this boss many times before in the Spiral Abyss. 95 is just 1/2 of the pair of Primal Geo Vishap, or the Vishap lizard things that you fought in Enkanomiya. Usually you fight them in pairs, but it's just one. I don't know why it's just one. I'm not complaining. It's easier. And then level 100 is the Lecter boss guy with the 3 different shields that you have to break. So that is the lineup. Honestly, none of these boss fights are too bad, but I'll go over them when we get to them. But remember, you can always borrow a friend's unit. Always look at their artifact. You can also look at their weapon and artifacts to see if there's something you want to bring. So like, for example, this person's Raiden Shogun is Looks like it's more for a Hyper Bloom team because they have the Dragon's Bane and the Gilded set. Hyper Bloom's going to be really good for this mode. So it's not a bad idea to use Raiden for it, but again, I already have a Raiden Shogun built and I don't need a second one, so just as an example, and I build up my cast, and here's what I want to show. See right here, how it says 4 out of 4 extra alternate cast members have been added. Buffs based on the number of extra members added are obtained. So you gain additionally 120 Fantasia Flowers, you gain 8 Blessing levels, and right here is the big one. Max HP increased by 6,400, attack by 400, defense, my head is blocking it, defense is also 400, and elemental mastery by 160. Now, if you know that which characters are like HP scaling, this is a huge damage increase for any HP scaling characters, Volani included here. There's also going to be a lot of healing from, well, your healers, like Siegewind, for example. She's going to get a nice boost to her healing, or Barbara. And then Elemental Mastery, so if you're using any sort of Virgin or Hyper Bloom or just even Nilo Bloom team, she's going to be, or they're going to get a significant damage boost here. Highly recommend get as many characters as you can into your cast. But try to go for that 26. It's probably the biggest barrier to entry, but it's what makes this mode that much more easier. So we can see that's what the level 8 blessing is. I know I'm like not really playing the VOD, I'm kind of skipping around. Don't worry, once we get to the actual fights, I'll play it. But yeah, you can see increases 6,400. There's all the stats again, and that's what it means to get the maximum characters. So you definitely want to do that as well. There's also something else that's new in this difficulty setting called the Brilliant Blessings is what it's called. So basically these Brilliant Blessings will buff significantly a reaction. So you can see here on the left it's Vaporize, in the middle Bloom, and on the right Burning will be buffed there. So whichever characters you feel like you're going to get the most, like the reaction you're going to see the most, whether it be Vaporize, Bloom, or whatever you're going for, try to increase that Brilliant Blessings level by as high as you can for the most damage. And we're just gonna skip again. Especially with how big the cast is, my biggest advice to you here, other than getting the blessings you need, is try to get as many companions as you can. If you don't like your rolls, don't forget you can re-roll on the bottom right. My head is blocking the button again until you get either a free mystery cache is also good too. Those can be really run saving. If you get additional usages on your characters or bring back a already used cast member. Those can be run changing. But you can see here's an example of a Brilliant Blessing. So we can see boost your Bloom Blessing, choose between a diverging path. So I get to choose either the Bloom Budding Overgrowth, which makes it so that when I trigger Bloom, it will generate an additional Dendro Core, which is huge. That's big damage. Or we can get it, or make it so that creating a Dendro Core will create a Lingering Seed that will assist in combat. Now, I didn't try this one out. Maybe in a future run I will, but, you know, without seeing, like, stats on the Lingering Seed, we're not sure how good that is quite yet. So that's why I did the additional Dendro Core, because we know more cores means more Hyper Bloom, more damage. So that's why I went for that one. But yeah, try to use your flowers as much as you can. When it came to choosing the battles, all of them pretty much had the same star challenge. So it's just to defeat the opponents within 85 seconds. Now remember, you don't actually have to beat the star challenge to get all of the rewards. It's nice if you can because it means extra Fantasia Flowers. But remember, if your goal here is just to get your monthly gems and dip, just beat it. Just straight up beat it, brute force it, and then move on. But if you do want the achievement for where you get some extra gems for doing the star challenges and you want some extra Fantasia Flowers to make the run easier for you, then yeah, obviously if you can, go for it. But if not, it's not the end of the world. Here, I'm just looking at my options and then I decide which group of enemies is going to be easier for me. Now, the hardest part about this whole thing, honestly, was just picking which teams I wanted to use, because the whole point here is we want to conserve the better units, right, for the harder boss fights that are going to come up. We have 4 of them, remember that, so we need quite a bit of characters because we can only use each character twice. So here I decided to just use the Burning team comp. I'm just gonna spoil it for you. I'm gonna pick Emily with Dia here. I know Burning is actually pretty good from what people have been saying in like You know, it was game changing when Emily was out, but I haven't personally played it myself, so I don't know how good it's gonna be. I know how good Mualani is though, because we got to use her a lot in the Natlan story, so I know she's a really solid unit. So I'm trying to conserve her and Candace. Remember that Candace can buff Mualani's damage, and of course Yelan, Nahida, those are like god tier. They have 1,000,001 uses, can be put on so many teams that we want to conserve them for as long as we can. That's why I go with the burning team here, and I just use Yao Yao for the heals. That's pretty much it. I'm gonna let this fight play out. It's not nothing really, you know, crazy. It's just ruin guards. Nothing fancy there. I'm sure you fought a bajillion of those by now, so don't forget you can skip this cutscene with all the toys and background stuff going away. So we just use Dia's elemental skill into Zhongling's. Yao Yao's little elemental skill for Dendro application. And we use Emily. I don't even know if she's like an on-field DPS or an off-field. I just put her on-field just for more Dendro, I guess. And then that's pretty much it. Like, it's only 2 enemies. It's really easy, right? Like, there's nothing hard about it, even on the increased difficulty here. We're just doing basic burning rotation thing. It's over. That's it. And we got the star challenge, which means we got some extra stuff. And then I got to choose between Raiden Shogun or Yoimiya. Of course, Raiden Shogun being one of the best units in the game, definitely gonna pick her. And I did spend some time talking to the characters around the Imaginarium Theater just to hear what they say, so we'll go ahead and skip that. We look at the challenges again, and again, pretty easy. Just beat the opponents within a set amount of time. I'm just looking at what the opponents are and stuff. These are the ones from Fontaine and the machines from from Fontaine. So, you know, nothing really special. It's like nothing really difficult. You've fought these before. I don't have any Fantasia flowers anymore because I used them all on upgrades. So there we go. I just decided to go with this one. And for this team, again, it's hard to pick what team we want to go for. Obviously, Raiden Shogun we want to save. So here, because I want to keep the burning team for like another round, we go ahead and do Mualani. We don't need a healer here because it's just Samurai. Again, nothing really too crazy. If anything, Dia can be our tank and our shield, and she'll absorb some of that damage for us. So yeah, this is me taking advantage of the free characters. We did get Kali. I kind of skipped over it. I used the random companion thing in the in our options before going to this fight. So we got free Kali, and I just use her. I accidentally popped Dia's burst here. That's why I jumped to cancel it. I didn't mean to, because Mualani is actually our on-field DPS. I accidentally canceled her skill there too. I messed up. But yeah, I didn't mean to do that. And then just go around, surf, attack, and rinse and repeat again for the second wave. Nothing really hard here. Activate the burst for Candace. Remember, you want to tag as many enemies as possible. I even got an achievement for doing that with Mualani, and then you do the shark attack. And then we just do the rotation again. So we get Kali's. Kali gets hit a little bit here. We get Kali's. Burst out, and then we use Mualani for some free damage. Remember to try to kill the samurai at the same time, otherwise the other one will get buffed significantly, and I almost killed the red one a little too early. Or was it the purple one? I can't tell. It's very blurry. But yeah, and then we can just finish it off here before the other one gets the buff. And we got, I believe I did get it. Defeat all opponents in 90 seconds. We got it. So good there. You know, remember to like always look at what you have. I'm gonna pause here real fast. Like, we do have one healer with one usage left, and that's Yao Yao. I just lost my human shield, which was Dia. So either or, like Kirara or Sejun would be a good option here. If we want more comfiness, we can bring Kirara, but I decided to get another straight up healer, which is Sejun. Remember, if you don't like your options, then reroll, but here I have the opportunity to get a level 4 Brilliant Blessing, which is going to make these buffs to all of my bloom damage teams insanely high, which is why we want to save Nahida and stuff for those scary boss fights, or just the harder general fights as well if it ends up being too much for us. So I don't even know which one is good there. I just pick whatever and we kind of roll with it. And then I don't have enough Fantasia Flowers for another boon or upgrade or a companion. So we just go to the start challenge. And again, it's going to be this machine thing, the mechanical array fight, which can be a little annoying, but I'll walk you through it. For those that have not fought in this thing or not familiar with this boss fight, let's go over it. Your choice of DPS here, honestly, anything but physical teams are going to do well. And I don't think there's going to be any physical teams in this theater because no reliable Electro or Cryo. Anyways, this boss is a bit of an RNG. Most of the time, he'll do that floating up into the sky move, which sucks if you're melee because you have to wait for it to come crashing down and then you can DPS it. You want to DPS it back down, or its health down to about a third, because then that's when it'll do its split phase. I don't know why it kind of just like stays there stunned for a bit. It took a while, but he's going to split into 3 different mechanical enemies here. And a little RNG. Hopefully you don't get the annoying one that digs underground, but it's not a big deal. You want to look for the mechanical enemy that has a ring around it. You see how this one has that ring on the bottom right there? Next to Siegwin's feet? That ring is the one you want to kill. You want to focus on. And then once it goes down, like right there... Oh, I used Siegwin's burst for some reason. I didn't realize it was dead. Then you can go back to the actual boss. The shield will be gone, and then you can just DPS it like normal. And that is pretty much it. It's a very easy boss fight. If you need to practice, don't forget you can actually just go fight it in the normal world if you have it unlocked in Inazuma. Nothing too hard there. Alright, I got a mystery cache here, so I'm trying to reroll to see if I can get anything here. I got one of the restore vigor options, which is really good, but it went to Kali of all characters. This is unfortunate, as we'd prefer it to go to someone like Raiden Shogun or Nahida again, because those, again, really strong options. I did end up picking up Arlecchino as well after the boss fight. And so here we have a defense sequence here, so you have to protect the monolith, and the start challenge is always to make sure that the monolith doesn't drop below a certain amount of HP. I actually did struggle with this a bit because I picked the wrong team. AoEs can help out a lot here, or if you have Kazuha, really good to group up your enemies. Any sort of taunt as well, so if you brought like Amber with her Baron Bunny, that thing taunts enemies away from the monolith. Keep in mind if the enemy does like AoE damage, it's not gonna matter. So let's go ahead and skip a bit here, because I did fail this a couple times. Yeah, like that. So I had to redo it, give it a couple, like, you know, think of some different options we could have used. And I ended up going with my Nahida here because I needed some sort of way to damage all enemies on the field at the same time, so that it would make it a lot easier and I didn't have to worry about protecting the monolith too much. Try to stay away from it, by the way. That's my tip for the monolith stages, because some enemies will aggro on you specifically. So if you're standing near the monolith, then they'll go to the monolith, and if they do, again, AoE damage like some of these enemies do, they'll hit you and the monolith at the same time, and that's really bad. So try to stay away from it if you can to DPS the enemies. This Ruin Guard will always aggro onto the thing unless you pull it away first. He was focused on me, but then he like did a 180 back into my monolith, so I was trying to kill it as fast as possible. This is bad because, as you can see, one of the other mech enemies dug towards me and did its AoE attack on the monolith, so I'm at 35%. Here I decided to say screw the star challenge, and I just wanted to complete it, so I failed the star challenge here. Again, it's okay if you do, it's not the end of the world. If you do, you don't have to complete them all. There is an achievement where you get all of the star challenges done in one run. You can always do that, you know, another time. You don't have to do it if you're just trying to get the gems for the monthly theater. You know, it's okay. And then the rest is just clean up for the rest of the time here. My monolith literally almost died at 1%. So yeah, I definitely would recommend a better AoE team and some way to pull off the monsters away from the monolith if you can. Always try to get mystery caches when you can, and I also spent my Fantasia flowers. Just try to get as many characters as you can so you have more options to choose from, even if they're good characters, bad characters, whatever. Just like, you know, more options the better. And I got my friend's Nuvalet at C1, by the way. That's really strong, so we want to save him for some really hard fights. He probably would have done really well on the previous one, and I just got Kazuha right there in my next companion that I chose. So really good characters we're getting now. And then this one is pretty easy. Just defeat 5 opponents on the Star Challenge, or depending on which one you pick, defeat X amount of opponents within the time limit. Really, really easy. Nothing too difficult here. So we're gonna go ahead and skip ahead. This one I decided to use Mualani again because at this point I'm okay with losing her because I do have Arlecchino and Neuvillette, and I still have Raiden Shogun. And again, really, really strong main DPSs. So I'm okay with losing the Mualani. She is the trial version after all, so she's 10 levels below you know, my main DPSs, and I don't know what like the artifacts look like on a trial character. So all right, this one's pretty self-explanatory. I'm skipping a little bit here. It's just killing ruin guards again and ruin enemies. Nothing special. I'm doing a bloom team this time around since I don't have Emily anymore. But yeah, we just surf around, tag them, hit. Very easy to play Mualani, very fun. Very fun character to play as, and we got to play her a lot in the story, so I'm glad they let us use her a lot. It was enjoyable. I'm sad I can't pull for her because I don't have enough gems to, but you know, if you're new, I highly recommend her. She's fun to play and does a lot of damage. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I already beaten the Star Challenge. We still have a minute and some change here. You can end early if you don't really care. I just had fun playing Mualani, so I kept going with it. And we're on to the next one. I'm getting more cast characters. Again, just building up that roster. I got Farina. Obviously, that's a great option right there. Farina being a superb support character. I do the companion again. And out of here, I'm happy with my main DPS, so I didn't pick Yoimiya there. Mona or Toma would have been the better options, of course. And then I'm just short of that mystery cache, which makes me a little bit sad. But here we have the triple Magu Kenki. Highly, highly recommend you bring a solid shielder or healer and a solid AoE DPS character. Doesn't matter who. It could be Neuvillette if you line them up properly. It can be Raiden Shogun, who hits multiple characters with her burst. Xiangling, also solid here. Arlecchino, just any AoE is going to be good because you want to focus as many of the samurais as you can at the same time. And you have to do this in 70 seconds for the Star Challenge, so it's a little scary, but you can do it, you know, with the right characters and the right teams. It's not too bad. Remember that the samurai will aggro to you, except the mask one. I'll talk about it when we're actually in the fight. I'm just choosing my teammates here, so let's just skip. So here, the mask one is the one, you see how the mask is split in half? That's the one I call the mask. And then remember that the other two samurai will kind of aggro towards you, but the mask guy will not. So I did go for the frost one, or the wind samurai at first. I do try to focus the frost one though, because he has the more annoying AoE slam. But if you have a shield or a strong healer, you can just power on through it. My Raiden Shogun almost got killed because I was a little careless. That's okay. I use Siege Wind's healing to power through the cryo field. Xiangling again with the great AoE damage. You don't have to kill them at the same time or anything. It's not like they're going to get significantly buffed like the normal samurai enemies. It's just try to damage as many of them as you can. And with that, the frost one is dead, and then we have the easy. The one with the mask is the easiest one because his attacks are very slow, predictable, and easy to dodge. And with that being said, we are done with just a few seconds left to spare. Did it in 140, or excuse me, 104. Just again, just adding more characters. I decided to finally add Mona. And if you feel like you can take on the elite challenges, go for it. If you feel like they're too hard, or your character roster just ain't it right now, that's okay. You know, that's okay to shy away from these challenges. I believe I also did. I went for a normal fight here because, you know, it's not the end of the world if you can't do it. It's okay if you're lacking the Fantasia flowers. Okay, so we have our next fight here. I did decide to go for the elite fight, by the way, because content and, you know, streaming, people want to see the hard stuff. So I decided to also bring some really strong characters as well. So I brought Neuvillette, and honestly, Neuvillette is one of those characters you can bring him with whoever you want, and you will do absolutely fine. So I brought Mona for some extra debuff and the Hydra Resonance, and then Toma just for some shields, and I guess Barbara again for extra healing. Because I was trying to save my characters. Like, I really wanted to save Kazuha, Farina, Arlecchino and stuff like that. I did not want to use a lot of them. But yeah, we just go ahead and do simple rotations, get all the elemental skills and bursts out there, and then again, when you're playing Neuvillette, just try to line up the enemies as best you can, just so you can damage all of them at the same time. And don't forget to use the I forgot they're called. I just call them the Hydro Balls, just to charge up your attack faster. And then once you're out of them, you just swap back to your sub DPSs, get the Mona debuff out there again. I forgot to apply Tome of Shield, but it's not a big deal. And then we just rinse and repeat. Just keep using that Hydro Beam, basically, and there you go. That's the end of the first wave. Then we have the second wave of these guys. If you do have a shield, they will empower themselves. So it doesn't really matter. We're using Neuvillette. Try to use AoE damage for here. Remember that the big shield guy will always come to the defense of one of the other teammates that he has. So you can focus the backline ones, and he'll aggro onto you for free AoE grouping. And then we just Hydro Beam them down again. And that's it. Neuvillette, making that really, really easy. You can do that with Mualani as well. Even the trial one will do well. Alright, we have another boss fight, and it is the I always call it the Geo Vishap. It's just the Vishap. It's just those the lizard dudes. Now, I'm gonna show you the mistake I made here. And I brought a bunch of Hydro to have Yoimiya vaporize it, and I did see that it was only one, so I brought Yoimiya. I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be easy, right? Wrong! Because I will show you. Did it pop up? About around the halfway point of this boss fight? Yeah, right there. This boss will get a large Hydro Shield, so we want to make sure you bring the game even tells you, and I totally ignored it because I was like, why do I need Dendro for this guy? He will gain a Dendro or a Hydro Shield, which can be destroyed by Dendro quite easily. So yes, bring a Dendro character, chat. Any character. Well, characters like Kali, Traveler, Nahida are gonna be much better off, but you can also use if you brought any of the main DPSs like Tighnari, Alhaitham, also gonna be good. Emily's gonna be really good here. So yeah, I had to adjust my team, and then we went in again. So this time I went with Arlecchino and Yao Yao. So Yao Yao, even though not the best Dendro applier, she still got the job done. So once we get to the Hydro Shield here, I'm just doing Arlecchino things. Just damaging it down. There's the shield. And we just toss out the elemental skill. I tried to use the burst, but remember that this boss drains HP. He also has, you see this ring around him? When you're in there, you start to take damage periodically. It's kind of annoying. So you have to be very careful with that. Drains your energy, drains your HP. And right there you can see I made a mistake, and Arlecchino ended up dying, but C6 Barbara coming in the clutch. That's why I got a free revive. Even I got stunned for a second there because I totally forgot that existed. So the revive coming in clutch. I get to use Arlecchino once again. And you just, again, be very, very careful with the ring damage. You want to make sure you have some constant heals. Yao Yao is a great healer. And we just kind of brute force it. Here we go. Just under the amount of time. Again, if you have any Dendro character, this fight becomes way, way easier. Tighnari is probably going to be one of the best units to use for this fight, simply because we got him for free, and he's ranged, and you can stay far away from that evil circle of the Vishap. So very annoying fight, because you kind of think it's easy at first, but then they have all these annoying gimmicks that accompany it, and then it ends up being much harder than it looks. But you can do it. I believe in you. Next up is just some regular fights again until the next boss fight. This one is really easy. If you have any Hydro DPS, Tartaglia would have been a fantastic option here, but I kept ignoring him. So that's my bad there. But yeah, very easy. I just used Yoimiya to kill I decided to go with the Samurai ones. Very easy. It's just groups of Samurai. It's not even the one where you have to like kill them at the same time because they spawn 1 elite samurai and 2 lesser ones. And they just want you to kill 3 of them, so it's really easy. I just used Yoimiya. You can use anybody here. Anyone else would have probably been a better option. So we're gonna go ahead and just like skip over this because nothing too crazy there. And this video is already getting kind of long. So, and at this point of the run, I basically had everybody that when I went to the companion stuff, they're like, we only have 1 character left for you. And then the rest of my Fantasia flowers just went into upgrading the Vaporize reaction because that's all I had left at this point. So Vaporize is really, really strong. We could have, if I had just a bit more flowers, we could have upgraded it again, but you know, it is what it is. Not a big deal. And we're gonna go ahead and head into the final fight of the Imaginarium Theater run on Visionary difficulty. And as you can see, like the mode itself is not hard. It's I would say again, it's just like the amount of characters you have built for this mode is what's gonna be hard. So you know, not everyone's gonna have 26 characters from 3 elements for every theater, and that's definitely what's gonna hold a lot of people back because having the 26 just gives you such a strong buff. It makes the rest of the mode not hard at all, honestly. All right. So we're fighting the Baptist Inquisitor, or Inquisitus Baptist. This is an annoying boss fight because he has 3 different shields that you need to constantly break so you can actually damage the boss. So here, I tried to diversify my elements. So we have Nuvolette for the Pyro Shield. Denjo will also destroy the Electro Shield pretty fast. And then here's the Pyro Shield. Use Nuvolette to destroy it very quickly. Not a problem there. And then Hydro, we have Kirara for that as well. Bennett can break it a little bit, but mainly Kirara is going to help here. And a little bit of Kazuha, because Animo destroys most shields fairly easily. We just set up our buffs so that Nuvolette can do the most damage. And we can see, once you break the shields, the boss itself is actually very squishy. He's not hard at all. You just gotta break the shields. That's the annoying part. But once you can break the shields, he is toast. And with that, we have successfully completed the Imaginarium Theater on Visionary difficulty. That was, again, probably the hardest part of the entire thing. And then I skipped the credits here. I'm just going to show the rewards. So remember, because the Imaginarium Theater added a new difficulty and new stages, that actually means you go to the rewards and you can see you actually have 2. So you have the debut because we did 9 and 10. Those are new, and then our first time beating it, you get an additional 400 gems and a crown. And then don't forget, you get additional gems for the month, just beating it in general, so you get the monthly one. At first I was confused. I thought I didn't complete it because 9 and 10 were like a different color, but no. There's my 800 gems for completing it. And you also get some talent materials and some artifact EXP stuff and some more. So nice rewards overall. And that is pretty much it for the Imaginarium Theater. I don't know how helpful a video like this is to players out there because, again, for the theater, the biggest bar to entry is just having the characters. Because if you try to do this with 22 characters, I'm sure it's still doable, but it's definitely going to be a lot harder without the buff. So having 26 makes your life so much easier. And obviously just having more characters to choose from means you're never in any danger of, you know, running out of good teams and good characters to use to clear the content. So if you have any additional questions, feel free to ask me down in the comments down below. Trying to do my best to help answer them and help you out. But other than that, that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.